second oldest player to play, and relatively recent player, Kevin Willis, power forward and center. He played for a ton of teams. He recently, the last team he played for was the Dallas Mavericks. I think a lot of people remember him as an Atlanta Hawk. But he was 44 years old, 224 days. So basically 45 years old in his last game. And then number 3, you just mentioned Larry Bird. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can. You're not going to get this, but people listening will. The number 3 oldest player to ever play in the NBA was a teammate of Larry Bird.
Yeah, no clue. I don't know. It was the Celtics. I know they were on the Celtics. How about that?
Good. Very good. The Chief, Robert Parrish, center for those teams. 43 years old in 254 days. This one where I pulled it off gave days, so essentially 44 years old.
Your research.
But yeah, and then some notables now.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned one notable. Let's see if you can remember who you just mentioned.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played until he was 42.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty good.
He was also an airplane, wasn't he? Was he the one?
He wasn't. He was an airplane. He was.
That's great.
And he was in. He's been in a few Bruce Lee movies.
Has he?
Oh yeah, in the 70s. A lot of people probably don't know that. I think he might even been Lou Alcindor back then. I don't think he was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar yet, but yeah, he was in some.
What was that Enter the Dragon?
He was in a couple of them, I think. Yeah. So people are like,
come back to Chinese
food. There's some young people that are like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
First of all, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's name used to be Lou Alcindor. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Secondly, he was in Bruce Lee movies.
There was a movie called
Airplane, which is a classic movie. So there you go. For you youngsters out there, you just learned a bunch. Some other notables: John Stockton, great guard for Utah, was 41.
Okay.
Bob Cousy played for.
Did we talk about him already?
No, but played for.
Why do you? I don't know. He played somewhere in the NBA.
Yep, you mentioned it.
Celtics.
All right. Was also 41. Dikembe Mutombo was 42.
He was awesome in that Geico commercial.
He sounds just like
no, that guy, right?
He sounds just like Cookie Monster.
That guy's awesome. That was a great commercial.
And then
I love that commercial.
Central Florida.
What, the Magic had somebody?
No. He was born and raised in Central Florida. Went to high school in the Daytona area. His high school escapes me. But Vince Carter played till he was 43 years old. He had a great career, a long career.
Okay, so I think
he went to. I'm not even looking this up. I'm pretty sure he went to Astronaut High School, which is
like Cocoa.
Oh, I said Daytona, didn't I? Yes, I think it was like the Cocoa area. It's like between Cocoa and going up north towards Daytona. I'm pretty sure he's Astronaut High School.
So, as we get into the other ones, question for the professional athlete in the room.
Former.
Still. What's the motivation? I mean, for somebody to play into that age, you get banged up, you get hurt, you get sore. Obviously, when you get older, things don't work as well. Is there a motivation?
Well, the one motivation is it's your career, right? And you're making a really good living.
Sure.
And you have to understand, once you stop and you're out, for the most part, you get some comebacks. Brady was retired for 3 months. Yeah. But pretty much once you stop, it's over. That money stops, and you have to just turn the page and move on to a career. So I give these guys kudos. If you can keep playing at a decent level, too,
right
into your 40s, I mean, that's, God bless you. I don't have any problem with it whatsoever. And listen, when you leave pro sports, a lot of times you miss that lifestyle in terms of the camaraderie. It's like, I compare it to law enforcement. Sure. I do not miss the day-to-day BS that I dealt with as a detective, the politics of just everything, right? You miss the camaraderie. You miss the detectives you work with, your coworkers, the busting balls, the having coffee, the going to Panda Express for lunch. You miss that stuff. And I think a lot of athletes, that's what happens. Del Dio, great Italian restaurant here in Orlando. I think a lot of the athletes, they really miss that, so they want to play as long as you can. And again, once it's over, it's over. So you might as well stretch it out as long as you can.
These guys you're mentioning, though, I mean, were they going out on top, or was it something like, hey, it's probably better for you to go now?
No one really, let's say this. There's a point in everyone's career, I don't care what sport you play, where you peak.
Yeah.
And then you keep playing, and you're not as good as you were at your peak. I mean, just look at the stars now. We'll talk about the NBA. LeBron James isn't as good as he was at one point in his career. When Michael Jordan finished playing, he wasn't as good as he was. And now, I mean,
Not even like Tiger, I guess, this week.
Of
Tiger.
course, Tiger. No one. The one exception that I think is nuts is Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I mean, it's almost ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think he's better. And I just think quarterback is such a cerebral position.
Yeah.
What you do. So he's like the anomaly, man. But it's nuts. And I'm sure there's some Patriot fans saying, no. And, in 2000, I'm just throwing a year out there, 10 years ago, that was like he was his best.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was. You
Right.
know what I mean? But for the most part, you never retire. Now, you can retire winning a championship, right? And you can say I went out on top.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be as good as a player individually as you were when you hit the peak of your career. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I'm glad I enlightened you a little bit there.
Thank you. What are we moving on to now?
Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Oldest. This is a name that I know you've heard. You're not going to get it.
And the answer is Satchel Paige.
It is.
Hey, I got it right.
Did you look that up?
No, I swear to God, I just guessed.
You got one. There you go. So those of you that are listening to this podcast are thinking it is. It's Leroy Satchel Paige. Do you know how old he was when he played in his last game? It's amazing. Amazing career.
50s?
Yes, but give me an age.
53.
59 years old.
59?
361 days. So I'm going to say he was 60 years old. He played.
Can you imagine batting against that guy?
Listen to this. And he was a pitcher. You're right. He played, his years active were from 1926 to 1965. That's just amazing.
So did he basically pitched against like Babe Ruth, right? Babe Ruth was still playing in 26?
Now you got me. I don't want to say yes or no. I know.
But then like Lou Gehrig. I mean, all these like these people that were stars in their own right.
So I know I can bring you back to Joe DiMaggio.
Okay.
Because I know Joe DiMaggio was quoted as saying that Page was one of the best pitchers he ever faced. So he definitely played against Joe DiMaggio. I can tell you that much. I didn't. How
do you? I don't understand how you do that. At 60 years old, like how do you throw a ball like that? I mean, I don't sound stupid, right? People are like, and you throw the ball, but I mean, 60 years old.
Yeah, and he played, and we should say he played in the American Negro League first, right?
He did, right?
And that's where everything started. But that's still professional baseball, so that's where his career started. And I think he played there from 26 to 48, and then moved on to Major League Baseball. I mean, he was a rookie. Think about this, too. He was a rookie at 42 years old. So you want to talk about motivation.
So you're talking about in the
so he was
MLB, like Major League Baseball.
Correct. Once he made it to Major League Baseball, he was 42, but he played until he was 60. So he had an 18-year career. I mean, it's
like Roy Hobbs.
It's an unbelievable career and just, one of the best ever.
Could you imagine?
Could
you imagine striking out against him?
So I'm very pleased that you got that one.
Hey.
The second oldest, I don't know who. I've never heard of him. No, Charlie O'Leary played from 1875 to 1941. He was a shortstop, so he played until he was basically 59 years old. Played for the Tigers, the Cardinals, and the St. Louis Browns.
Did you say
1875 to 1941. Yeah,
till 1941.
Yeah, so played for a long. I mean, unless that was
holy crap, is that a typo? 1875.
Oh no, I think that was his.
That's when he died.
Yeah, it's got to be. That's got to be. I think I read it, but I didn't really research him. It just popped up. But
he's playing catch.
I have a couple notables, which you're not going to get.
No.
One is a pretty played not too long ago, and I had no idea he played this long. But Jamie Moyer was a pitcher. Played till he was 49 years old.
Okay.
25 seasons. So he played from 1986 to 2010.
Right.
Took 11 off, came back in 12, got another year in. But 25 seasons, 49 years old, was a pitcher. And the other notable, he wasn't in the top 10, but it's someone we've talked about.
Yeah.
Let me see if you can figure out who I'm thinking of. We talked about him on this podcast.
Oh, what episode?
Gambling in sports.
Oh, crap.
Come on, jackass.
Gambling.
Major League Baseball.
Oh, Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Yay.
Do you know how old Pete Rose was when he finished playing? And I'll tell you this. So
wasn't he like a player manager too?
He was.
Like 51.
But he officially stopped playing in 86 was his last season. He started in 1963, played the 1986, 23 seasons. He wasn't that old.
What, 47?
He was 45,
45
when he officially stopped playing. Obviously still the all-time hits leader in Major League Baseball. But yeah, I thought.
And he's still gambling.
I'm sure that you probably had a good wager on the Preakness yesterday. I'm gonna say, yeah. You know what? Speaking of gambling,
What's that?
So obviously we talked about it on this podcast. It was actually the week before this podcast started, we did our first podcast, and then my next week was my 20th anniversary. So I went to Hard Rock Casino
the Guitar Hotel
in Hollywood.
Yep.
And I think we talked about it on this
did.
podcast. Had a great time, and I'm horrible. Like I remember we talked about the older women. You call them the blue hairs playing
slot
slots.
machines,
And
yeah.
God, if you try to take their slots, they'll whack you over the head.
Their table,
so I was screwing around with slots, but the odds are so bad, right? And even blackjack.
Yeah.
And so I just don't play. I love going to Vegas. I love going to those places.
Yeah, it's not fun to lose money.
But I went to a party this year.
Right.
This week. Me and my wife went to a function, and the people that were hosting this function you can hire like these casino companies, and they come and so they give you like everybody gets the same amount of chips, and then you play for like 3 hours, and then whoever has the most chips, they count them up, and then the person that's hosting the party, you win a gift card. That's really a cool thing,
cool,
right?
Yeah.
So they had blackjack, roulette, and craps.
Craps, I like craps.
So I've never, right? So
Yeah.
I go, man, I'm going to use this
fun.
to learn. Yeah. And the dealer was awesome.
Yeah.
He so I know how to play craps now. I am so effing excited. I told my wife, I'm like, we got to go to Vegas.
What were you playing? Were you playing the
pass line? So you always start on the pass line. Always start on the pass line. Double the bet on the pass line.
Yep.
Once I'm going to call it the marker. It's called the
point.
The point. Once the point's settled, then you double that bet on the pass line. And then you put a bet on 6 and 8. Those are your best odds.
Yep.
He goes, yeah, you go to Vegas, there's bets all over the place on 6 and 8. And I was like, how the hell are you knowing what everyone's got bet here? He goes, well, in Vegas, in a real table, there's 2 crap dealers.
Yes.
One has one half of the table.
Aren't they called like croupiers?
I have no idea. One has one half of the table. One has the other half. And he goes, there's a third person that rakes the die.
Yeah.
The dice.
Yep.
So yeah, it was awesome. So I learned.
There's like positions for like if you play the point or the numbers. There's like little. So
there's
they know
positions,
around
and
the
that's
table
how he
is.
was doing it.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. So I
Craps is a lot of fun.
officially know how to play because everyone said, "Oh, you can just play the pass line," and so now I understand what they mean.
Yeah.
And you could stay there for hours
as long as
and
they
not lose a ton of money.
As long as they don't roll a 7 or 11.
Well, you can roll a 7 or 11 on the
Yes,
initial
then you
roll,
win.
then you win.
Right.
After the point is set,
no
then
7 or 11.
No 7 or 11. Then you're crap out. So I know how to play, so I'm excited.
Here's a cool little bet for you. It's called. Did you ever see the ones in the middle called the horn bet? I might.
There's a ton of bets that are just one roll bets.
So they're these like little
high odds.
little like say you're playing at like a $5 table or $10 table. They're like it's like a buck or two, right? So and the odds are like 7 to 1, right? So say you're playing a $15 bet on the pass line, okay? You put $2 on the any craps. It's a
Correct.
7 to 1 bet, right?
Yes.
So if you get a craps, you get you get a $14
Correct.
back.
It's like an insurance bet.
Yeah. And so
I was doing that too.
Yeah.
And then you see the one roll bets. You can do the
box cars or
well,
like
the one is
Snake Eyes.
called. I forgot what it's called. People are yelling at me.
We're gonna know.
In the man, there's like 7 numbers though. That one's pretty good. And then you could bet.
Fun.
You could bet like
and your money stays
you
there.
could
For a
bet
little
like
bit.
Snake Eyes was 30 to 1.
Right, but it's not like blackjack where you put it down and every hand you're
every
losing
time
money or
every
winning
time
money.
I play blackjack in Vegas, I get wiped out in 15 minutes, and I'm like, there's $500 gone. It's like, but I think
you never split the kings.
I
or
think
whatever
I think for craps,
right?
If you just don't try to get greedy and just want to have fun and maybe win a few bucks,
your money can stay
you
there.
could
for a
stay
little
there
bit.
and have a blast. So I'm looking forward to the next time because I don't think the Hard Rocks here in Vegas have craps. I don't think they do.
A lot of places don't have like the table games. It's all like digital.
Well, they have
and stuff like
blackjack.
that. They
They
do
have
have
blackjack.
Well, everybody
Yes.
has blackjack, but yeah. So
but
they have,
anyway,
they have like digital craps now too. Certain places.
I
Not
don't know.
much
I
fun.
think they may have the digital.
Yeah.
So all right.
What do we got now?
NHL. So you followed hockey a little bit
Maybe.
as a kid.
Maybe.
So just maybe.
Okay. Let's see.
Maybe the oldest player ever to play in the National Hockey League at the end of his career. The people listening right now, I know a lot of them know. They're yelling. They're saying, I know it.
Gordie Howe.
Gordie Howe. That's 2 you got right. Good for you, Brian. Do you know how old Gordie Howe was?
49.
52 years old.
Okay, I was close.
Played 26 seasons. Obviously, everyone knows him with the Detroit Red Wings. Also played with the Hartford Whalers, who are
not even there anymore.
They're like a legend. You see a lot of Hartford Whalers jerseys and hats out there. But yeah, 26 season. He was just phenomenal, Gordie Howe.
Yep.
I did that name just boom. You hear even when people don't know, you say Gordie Howe. Oh, yeah, I've heard that name. So
was it
now the second